Hey fellow YouTubers, this is N0AGI. I'm here to do a short video on the MNDMR.net webpage and our website. I get a series of questions over email as to how to use a site, etc. It's fairly self-evident once you land on the landing page. It's fairly easy to navigate. But let me take this opportunity to walk you through a quick demo of the site, but also take this opportunity to walk you through the various resources that form the MNDMR.net webpage. So to start out, go into MNDMR.net and you'll be brought into this page. The site is under SSL, so it's a secured website. I'm using the Internet Explorer browser. You should be able to use either Chrome or Firefox or IE, whichever works for you. So anyway, so once you go into the landing page, you will be brought into this visual, which kind of talks about the various repeaters that are part of the MNDMR C bridge. There's, for example, KC0CAP, Dan's repeater in Litchfield. You have Don's Minneapolis and his airport repeater in the Minneapolis-St. Paul, the Twin Cities airport. You have the Medina repeater, you have the Buck Hill repeater, and you also have Bill's KD0YRF Faribault and his Rochester repeaters. Now, the MNDMR, if you're not aware of what that is, MNDMR.net is the Minnesota's first in-house DMR C bridge for DMR repeater network. And it's owned and operated by KD0YRF Bill. And the repeater network started out with a handful of repeaters, but then just recently we added net new repeaters to the network. So we have a total of 7 repeaters today, and basically the DMR C bridge helps connect the DMR repeaters together so as to form a network of DMR repeater system. But anyways, this video is not about DMR network as such, but this is about the MNDMR.net webpage that supports the efforts of MNDMR C bridge that is currently up and running in the state of Minnesota. All right, so once you go into the landing page, you will see the visual that shows you the current repeaters in the network. And it also gives you some high-level steps as to if you're new to DMR, how do you get started, what are the steps involved, and things of that nature. So if you're a new user, new to DMR, we have some quick start guide, if you will, for getting up and running on DMR. All right, so that's a landing page. And then there are other links up on the top in the menu here, but I think the people tend to use the code plugs page quite a bit. If you go into code plugs, that brings you to this landing page. Dave K0NA is our code plug repository owner for all of the Motorola radios, and Galen KC0BBK, he owns all of the TYT set of radios. All right, so that's the code plug page. When you click on, for example, if you have a Motorola radio, you can click on Dave's link here, and that should bring you into Dave's repository, and then you should be able to click on your radio model and type, and then download the code plug and upload it using the Motorola CSP software. If you are new to Motorola, if you're new to DMR, you may or may not have a copy of the software. If that is true, then go find someone in our Minnesota, just at large, anyone who is in the state of Minnesota, in the DMR world should be able to help you get your code plug up and running on your radio. All right, so that's the Dave's Motorola code plug page. Let's go back into MNDMR, and if you're the owner of of a TYT or Titera, go into Galen's code plug repository, and that should bring you into his landing page where you should be able to download if you have an MD380 or a MD 2017 or MD 9600 model, you should be able to download the corresponding code plug and get up and running. Typically, at least majority of us who have the MD radios, they have the MD380 radios. Again, this changes over time. So as of today, I think most of the TYT radios that people have here in the state of Minnesota have the MD380s. There's also a majority of us who also carry Motorola radios. But if you have an MD380, you might be interested in the MD380 generic code plug that should get you up and running. But anyway, so that's Galen's code plug repository. Now let's go back into the site here. The other page that gets some traffic is the repeaters page. If you go into repeaters link, that should bring you into this page. It's the same visual as the landing page, but then you also have a coverage map of the 7 repeaters that provide DMR coverage in these areas. This is the coverage map for the handheld radios. So if you have a mobile rig, obviously your coverage will be much wider, but the least common denominator is a handheld. So this provides you with the handheld coverage, just an approximate coverage map in the Twin Cities area. Further down below here, you get a similar view, only this is a zoomed out view, so you get a picture of in the state of Minnesota where MNDMR provides coverage for you. And further below here, you will see specific details about the individual repeaters as part of the MNDMR network. You have Don's airport repeater, his repeater network, his repeater frequency, the color code, the zone that his repeater kind of falls into, and then you have the Buckhill repeater that I own and operate, and its frequency and the details here. Bill's Faribault, Dan's Litchfield. This is my Medina repeater system, Don's Minneapolis Riverview repeater system, and Bill's Rochester repeater system. So if you, for example, go into, let's say, if you go into the Medina repeater, let's click on that. That should bring you into the Medina repeater detail page, where you'll see some additional details about the repeater system, the specs for the repeater, what kind of duplexer is up on the site, and some additional details. Where available, you'll also have a link to the repeater site, pictures and so forth. And anyway, so there's a lot of pictures here, and that's available where the repeater owners have provided that. So if you go to Rochester's, Bill's Rochester repeater, that has his repeater details. He also has a nice YouTube video that he produced some months ago using his drone. I really enjoy watching this. It gives you a pretty nice coverage or 360-degree view of his site. This was taken a while ago, by the way, so he probably has a newer update on his video that we should maybe update the site with. But here's some additional pictures of his repeater site. All right, so that's the repeater page. Let's go back in there. There's one additional piece. If you go to the very bottom of the repeater page, you will see the zone map for the state of Minnesota. And this zone map is provided as a guidance by the MRC, the Minnesota Repeater Council. You will see the various repeaters and the zones that the repeater kind of falls under. So for example, Rochester Z4, that's in this zone here in the Rice County. Actually, Olmsted. Bill's Rochester is in Olmsted, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Okay, so that's a repeater page, the landing page for the repeaters. Let's go into the MNDMR dashboard page. This gives you a view of the dashboard snapshot, but you can click on this link here. That should take you to the MNDMR dashboard page. So this is the MNDMR dashboard page. This is the version 3.0. October 30th, 2017 version. All right. And if you haven't watched my previous video about the MNDMR dashboard, please go ahead and take some time and watch it and let me know if you have any questions. But I think a couple of additions we added to this dashboard is some clarity around recent activity, which shows you the top 25 recent activity for the MNDMR C-bridge repeaters, the 7 repeaters we saw earlier. It also talks about the loss report per repeater, per user, sort of a debugging tool, if you will. But there's also this real-time activity, which is very similar to the minimal watch. Again, you can see my previous video, which is listed here, and learn how to enable that feature in IE. So that's that. But also we added just some eye candy stuff here. If you go to the top corner here, you'll find some additional coloring, theming for the pie charts. This is a default. If you've never been to the site, that's a color scheme you will be brought into. But you can select various other themes. But anyways, the original debut is the default color scheme. So that's the DMR dashboard. Again, I'm not going to cover details about this dashboard in this video because I've already covered that in my previous video. Let's go back into the MNDMR site here. And let's now go into the interactive coverage map. This should bring you into interactive coverage map tool, which allows you to watch the coverage map, but also be able to interactively select which repeater provides what level of coverage depending on where you're at. Let's say if you are in the Buck Hill, Shakopee, Prior Lake area, Lakeville area, Buck Hill provides a good coverage. And then if you are up north, let's say if you go to the airport area, that's the airport coverage. There's a lot of, there's a very healthy overlap of coverage between the 7 repeaters as of today. So that's always a good thing. If you go to Litchfield and in the Monticello, Hutchinson area, Dan's Litchfield repeater provides a good coverage there, and likewise Bill's in Faribault. His Rochester is another huge wide area repeater system there with this high tower. And then if you go into the Minneapolis area on the Riverview, so you can interactively select and see where each of the repeaters provides coverage and so forth. Okay. And then of course you can zoom in and out. This uses Google Maps, so it's fairly straightforward. And then you can also click on, for example, let's say Medina here. It shows you some additional details about that repeater, and then you can go into the links and whatnot. So there's some activity that you can play around with and see how each of these repeaters provide coverage for the state of Minnesota. All right, so that's the interactive coverage map for the MNDMR C bridge. If you go back into the repeater page, rather the MNDMR landing website, there's also talk groups. This needs to be updated a little bit. I know we are having some conversations with the repeater owners and the user community to modify, to tweak, to better fit the evolving experience of the DMR network here in Minnesota. So you'll probably see a change here on this page shortly. There's also calendar and events. We haven't done such a good job of keeping up this page, but we are hoping that we will be shortly. In the winter time, most of us in Minnesota during spring, summer, even fall, we are out and about and enjoying the weather. And the winter time is when we have some extra time to ourselves for DMR, if we are not busy with work and traveling, that is. So anyway, so we'll try to keep up this particular page and make it more relevant. I'm hoping. So that's the calendar. We covered getting started, we covered talk groups, we covered the repeater menu, the dashboard, and the interactive coverage map. We covered code plugs. The repeater owners page is kind of in the making, and then also the about page is in the making. So anyways, that's a quick view as of today, in the month of October. And there should be more updates coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough here. So if you have any questions, please do drop us an email at mndmr@mndmr.net. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon.